Hello there, Erin here. I am going to turn this card kit into a double page scrapbook layout. So this is a card kit from Stampin' Up. It's called Autumn Abundance. It is a paper pumpkin subscription, which is a once a month subscription box, and it's a surprise. It's like a mystery box you get in the mail each month. And you can make these beautiful cards. So these are card bases, the log rounds and the leaves, and then you have these little square cards here and all of the ephemera to decorate them. So it kind of shows you step by step how to assemble these. But like I said, I'm going to switch it up and turn this into a scrapbook layout. So I do want to show you that everything you need comes in the box. This one is a stamping kit. So you get the Cajun Craze little mini Stampin' Spot ink. And then this is better. Look at what the stamp set looks like. You have this cute little snail you can make. So there's his body and then the shell part, some leaves and sprigs, and then some nice little sentiments. Sending autumn wishes your way, thinking of you and with thanks. So I love fall, and it's one of my favorite seasons to document because I love the gorgeous colors. So those are the envelopes. These are the little sentiment spots that you stamp onto or stamp your sentiment on and put onto your card. But let's scoot these out of the way. Look at this ephemera actually before I do that. It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And the little snail, log rounds, and the mushroom. I'm so excited about this kit. So you don't really, as I mentioned, you don't know what you're going to get, but they do give little sneak peeks sometimes ahead of time, and you can pause a subscription. I'm trying to get that to catch the light so you can see that it's kind of a rose gold foiled leaf, which if you'll notice, there's the same splattering on here that is gold. So pretty. So let's move this out of the way and we will get started. These are punch out shapes too. There is a coordinating die. I keep saying I'm going to move these out of the way, and then I keep saying, oh, let me show you this. As a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, there are die sets that go with like 3 months of the kits. So this one here, I've got 2 sets in here. The Thanks, the butterfly, and this little shape was from several months ago. This says Mary, and then you have a fern leaf, which I am super excited about, and then this decorative stitching edge on this tag. So that is for October, November, and December. So these are designed to go with those kits. And I just kind of put them both in one envelope because they're smaller, and then put the little name plate on the opposite side here. So that is called Mary Tags and More dies. The other one is Thanks and Beyond dies. So again, these are only available if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, and you can add those on. Let me bring my Versamats in, and then I have pulled some cardstock and pattern paper. So I've got 2 cardstock pieces in Blueberry Bushel, and then I chose these 2 wood grain patterns from the Country Woods wood grain collection. On the opposite side is gray. The reason I chose this one is because it has these warm colors in here. And if you look at the card bases, you can see there's a lot of yellows in there. So I think that this one will coordinate really nicely as opposed to a cool gray tone like that. So we want that warm golden color. And then the Blueberry Bushel I pulled in because there's lots of blue. Look how beautiful that is with the blue. It just is so stunning. So these are going to be my base. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know I have a few ideas in my mind. So what I'm thinking is having this pop of blue around the outside edge, and then maybe creating a frame style layout where this meets in the middle. So we're going to have an edge around the top, side, and bottom. And now with these, I really want these to be kind of, you know, one of the focal points, and I'm thinking of bringing in the log rounds. So naturally you would think maybe run these across the bottom and create a little border across the bottom with your photos here. I think that would be beautiful. Alternatively, we could run them up either side so they are kind of coming into the layout. So I'd have to cut off the bottom here and add it over here. And I really like that idea. Or I'm toying with the idea of putting them in the center and kind of having them go out like that. So many choices. So for now, I think I will kind of place them over here and we'll just start experimenting with my photos to see if something kind of clicks into place. Every fall, we enjoy what we call a ladies' ride, and several of my friends come over to my place. They bring their horses, and we go for a beautiful ride to enjoy the fall colors. So there's this, it's about 2.5-hour loop on a dirt road, but you can see that gorgeous fall foliage. Look at that, in the yellow in that picture. It's just a beautiful, beautiful little ride. And then we come back to my house and have a charcuterie board party. So everybody brings their own charcuterie board, and we put them out, and it's always a beautiful display and so delicious. So here's a group shot of us with everybody brings their dog, of course, and we're in my backyard, and I love the framing of the trees here, bringing in that fall color. And then there's a group shot of us on the horses just at some point along the ride. So what I'm thinking, this is a true 4x6, and then I have a 4x4, and then all of these 3x4s. So I was thinking I could possibly just kind of place these across the bottom here and make a row of these. So you'll notice I'm kind of strategically placing these to frame so everybody's kind of looking into the layout. So maybe something like that. I want to make sure to kind of break up the color too. And also something to take note of is this, would not stand out as much because the leaves and the color. This photo with a little bit more of a, subject, I'm the focus of that photo. So I think that it's a little bit more bold against that busier background, as to where this one will stand out with a less busy background. I grabbed this pattern paper from the Autumn Memories scrapbooking workshop, and I like the distressed brown. It's kind of a simple pattern. So I'm thinking about using this to anchor these photos and run this all the way across the layout. I do really like that, but I also have this one from the Country Woods. That's one of my favorite papers there, but this blue would look really pretty, and I think the rustic wood grain looks nice. So let's try this and see how it looks. Probably both would be great. And then I know I want to bring in the log rounds. So let's kind of hold this one up here because I'm thinking of using this larger one right here. I think I am going to go with the brown. Now that is already cut into, so I'm going to cut that paper in half, and I don't know if it's going to be quite wide enough. Let me go ahead and just try that. So I cut it in 2 equal sections, and I can already tell you it's not quite where I'd want it. I want more color beneath and above the photos. But what we can do is possibly bring in that blue wood grain paper and get the best of both worlds. That way we can use both papers. So I could run a strip of this across the bottom. So I went ahead and did that. And then we're gonna mat these on espresso brown cardstock so they pop off of that lighter background there. Now I want to go ahead and fussy cut that log round, and I know it's not a complete circle, but I think we can camouflage it behind the photos. So at first I started cutting with a little white border and then realized, well, that's not going to work because I won't have that white border on the edges that don't have the bark around the log because it goes off of the end of the card base. So I sped this up quite a bit. We're going to cut this out and then we will dress it up here in a moment. But I am going to tuck this under and just kind of see how that's looking. Let's get rid of that little piece there. And I just want it to kind of pop this main focal photo. And yes, I like it. Now the color of this wood grain pattern paper is actually Misty Moonlight. So if you look at it next to the blueberry bushel, it is definitely not the same. It's not to say you can't mix blues, you absolutely can. So I'm just kind of trying it. It looks better with this, but the vibrancy of the blueberry bushel just kind of brings in that wow factor. So I think I'm gonna stay with this choice. Let's go ahead and dress up that log round. So what I'm going to do is actually ink up the edges to make it look like bark all the way around. And on a few of these where it's flat, I am making my own irregular edge. So I'm just taking my scissors, no rhyme or reason, and just making that kind of wonky, and maybe a little bit right here because it's also flat in this area, and we'll make it look a bit more natural. So now we can add espresso brown ink, making the bark look like the bark that was printed on the design, and it'll be a little bit more uniform and look like it was a whole log round rather than something we chopped out of a corner. My friend Dawn created a scrapbook layout using this same card kit, and she used a circle die to cut out a section of the log. So I will leave her video listed in my description box below for even more ideas for you. Now for these card bases here, I'm going to tighten up the edge. We've got a strip of the card base with no pattern on it, and we don't really need that. So I'm trimming that section off, and then I'm going to trim, and this way I can use one card base per side. We'll tuck the large piece into the top and then the smaller piece down below, and no one will know it's not a continuous pattern. These leaves look so pretty reaching in from the side. It's kind of how it was on our ride. We were just surrounded by a canopy of leaves. I have all of my paper layers adhered down and my photos kind of lightly tacked into place. I just lightly tacked them in case I want to tuck things under. So I've got 2 more of those log rounds, all from one card base. So you can see, here's the other card bases. There are the 3 log rounds. So these are kind of obviously chopped off, but I think if we strategically place them, we can kind of hide that. So I'm thinking maybe here. So what I want to do is kind of bring like a, your focus around with these as kind of what I'm repeating in each of my clusters. So maybe here, and maybe we'll kind of vary this and put it down underneath so that it's not directly across. Not that that's bad, but let's see if we can kind of vary it up a bit. Just a little bit of that log peeking out. And 2, I'm bringing in a ton of leaves, so I've punched out all of the bits and pieces from the card workshop. Now these are just left over. So what I do when I'm creating fall projects is I kind of cluster the leftovers and then just keep using them as I'm working on fall layouts. So these are gold foiled leaves from the Changing Leaves collection, and I toss those in here, but these and then all of these are from this card kit. So depending on where I place my leaves, I can always camouflage things. Like if I did want more of this log showing, if I put kind of leaf over the bottom of it, you will never know. Your mind just automatically thinks that pattern continues on. So, but I do kind of like it down here. I don't know. We will let that develop. We'll put this here for now and then just kind of play around with these leaves. They're so pretty. So there's some that are more red and then more yellow. There's all sorts of different bits. And then the mushroom and the snail. I know they don't necessarily go along with the layout, but they're so cute. I just kind of want to use them. Now I know I want a large leaf cluster right here to add a pop of color, so let's pull some of these out. We've got the gold foil and the yellow, and then let's use some of the blue ones here. So let's just kind of start tucking these in and add a pop of color. And I love that gold foiling. It's so pretty. So maybe this little yellow one here, and then we will tuck the blue one in between. That's very colorful. I do really like that. Let's try adding some of the leaves to this corner here. I want a little bit more embellishing on this log round. It looks a little bit funny to me with this leaf going out to the left and the base leaves coming in to the right. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but let's try just the snail and the mushroom. I do think that's pretty cute. Maybe we'll just stick with that. So this is just where you play and you have fun and you try things. And there is this piece here. So I was thinking about adding my journaling. That could be the top of my journaling, kind of, framing the journaling in. These little log rounds are super cute. These photos were taken in November of 2022, and as I mentioned, this is something we try to do every November, but it was our first time having a charcuterie board party for the luncheon, and I loved it. It was so pretty, and everybody just kind of brought something a little different. It was so much fun. So I pulled these stickers from the Autumn Memory scrapbooking workshop, and it spells out autumn. And I was thinking that might fit nicely up here above the photo. And they're kind of resting a little bit overlapped on the photo. I do like that, but they also could go underneath the photo. So let's try that and see how that looks. The full title is Autumn Bliss, but I think I just want to use the word autumn. Now I was thinking about putting my journaling here, but then I was looking at these card designs and they have this one that's a square, and sometimes a card, an embellishment cluster on a card can translate over to a scrapbook layout beautifully. So let's try that. I'm going to need to bump this over just a bit. I know there are some scrapbookers that actually signed up for our 31 Days of Christmas card event because they love the techniques and the ideas for the products, and they know they can use those on their scrapbook pages. So that's always fun. So I would cut that upper part off, but I don't want to do that until I commit and know that this is something I want. So let's see, they've got a little log round, the snail, mushroom, and then the little leaf punch out there. So here, let me grab those extra pieces. We've got the log round, they've got this on the card that is shown in the design, and then the log round, and then they have the mushroom over here, and then the little snail critter here, I think. And then they have this around the top, which is very pretty. So, okay. So I do think that that is so cute. Here's a little scrap paper so you can kind of just in your mind envision what that would look like. And I do like it, but then where do I put my journaling, right? So I don't have a huge story to tell, but I still want to document the details. That is adorable. I really like the way they've clustered that. That is so cute. So what I could do, if I want to use this, I could make it a pocket and then slide my journaling in the top. That would be a great idea. I even have a little tag here, so that would just slide back in. And because I use top loading page protectors, you can just reach into the page protector and pull out the journaling. So that's an idea. But another idea I had, I don't know guys, I really like that. It is a bit busier with the leaf background. What if we just used, what if we pulled in like a circle? Let's imagine that as a circle. And then could we put our journaling in the circle and kind of have the same look? Oh, that's an idea. So I cut a Cajun Craze tag. Now this is from cardstock, but if you didn't have the cardstock, you could use one of these squares to cut out your tag. But this was kind of what I was thinking in the beginning before I saw that idea. I was just thinking of putting my journaling on this tag and maybe doing something like this, which I still think is very cute. And then we can bring in, we could have our same little clustering elements. So we can have our snail and the log round and the leaves, and we can still add all of those things. You know what, I kind of like that. I don't think my journaling's gonna fit in that little circle. You know what, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna type up my journaling and cut it out with a tag. So I'm a mega nerd and I cut my tag on the wrong side. I was supposed to do it this way. I don't know what I was doing. I could go reprint it, but let's maybe work with this. Sometimes our accidents are little happy accidents, right? So we would bump this. We're just going to reverse the concept here and see if it works. Otherwise, I will just go and reprint that. And I want my tags staggered, but I need to make sure I'm not tucking my text too far under. So let's just go with this and see if it's going to work. I don't want to cover too much of the photo there. I don't mind covering a little bit, but you don't want to cover anything important. Our little snail, and then the mushroom. Let's tuck the mushroom under here and do that. Well, that works. That works out. I like that too. Let me ink up the edges of this just so it matches the rest of it. And then we can finish off our little tag toppers. Funny, I did that. It's just on autopilot, I guess. I love adding word phrases. So this says story of the day, and that is a sticker from the Autumn Memories sticker sheet. I keep pulling in bits from this collection, and there's all sorts of little fun word sentiment stickers you can use. But I want to add something else to this log round. He's kind of hanging out down here by himself. And then I also was looking at some of the other shapes. So there are all sorts of wood grain shapes that come with the Autumn Memories collection. There's hearts and leaves and different things. I did pull out an arrow because I thought that might be fun to use. Actually, what does he look like over here? I like it. That is cute. We're going to leave that there. And then, so what I'm thinking is maybe bringing in some leaves and then layering that over the top. I do like that. So let's bring in some leaves. How about we just try a couple? I want to add some of this foiling, maybe the blue one here. Let's just see what these look like. So actually, let's tuck this underneath the photo here. And then kind of overlapping. There's nothing in the corner of that photo that's important. It's catching on something back there. And then we have these gorgeous gold, rose gold foiled leaves. So we'll kind of layer that in. And then we're already camouflaging that little part of the log that is chopped off there. And then we can just add this right over the top. You know what, I like that. I think that's all it needs. Just like that. Do we want the blue leaves? I don't think it needs it. I like it just like that. I do think I want blue up here though. So what if we tucked these guys in there? We had a lot of reds and oranges. I think that looks good. I went ahead and added some of these gold textured adhesive backed dots, and they are a gorgeous fall color. So I went ahead and put 3 of them around this cluster down here, and then around my little tag snail cluster here. And I usually do 3. So there's 1, 2, 3 right there. So I like the way they catch the light and they just look really pretty and a nice little textural element there. Now I went ahead and created some of those cards. So this one is exactly as shown and it's just so cute. Now, you guys, I'm a gardener. I hate snails, right? They destroy my plants. They eat stuff, especially my hostas. They put holes all through them and make them look like Swiss cheese. But give me a paper snail and I'm just, yes, please, I have to have it. I think they're so cute. I wish snails weren't so destructive because they are relatively like peaceful little guys cruising around the garden and they're actually kind of cute to look at. But yeah, leave my hostas alone. So this is another card I made as is, showing, well, almost as is. So if you look at these card bases, they're front and back, right? You can fold them and you have front and back. I cut it in half so I can use the other side for a whole different card. And then I trimmed it down and matted that on espresso brown and then just glued it to a card base. I took the leaves and stamped on the inside. Now this is from the coordinating stamp, and I took espresso, the Cajun Craze, and crushed curry and just made a little bottom border of those leaves, and I just really like how that turned out. I did have a little whoopsie. I opened this up to stamp on the inside and it fell on my ink pad. Total rookie move. So there was a line. I don't know if you can see that. So I tried to camouflage it with some of those little dots, and I think that's pretty good. Nobody's going to key in on that and be like, what did she do? So I love that I can make this layout and then make these cards, and I still have so many bits and pieces left over. Those aren't part of the kit, but look at all of this stuff I can still create with. Like I just threw everything in there. That's not part of the kit either. But anyway, I might make more cards. I might make another scrapbook layout. I don't know yet, but I did want to put 2 of these together because I think that they are just so beautiful. There is one more card design, and that's using the leaf card. So I could make 2 more of those because I have one whole card base and I could cut it in half and glue them to a card base like I did on this. But I used a full card panel here and here. So the way the Paper Pumpkin subscription works is if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber and you love a kit like this, but you missed out on it, if they don't guarantee it, but if there's any extras, they will put them up after the fact, and you can go purchase like a refill or one of those kits. So I just might do that with this one because I think this is my favorite kit so far that's come across in Paper Pumpkin. But yeah, I hope that you really enjoyed this alternative idea for the card kit. If this project inspired you, hit that thumbs up button so I know you enjoyed it, and you can find the information in the description box below about Paper Pumpkin and the other supplies I used. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time here on YouTube.